right, get ready for this one because today we're taking a look at something that's kind of backwards. Channeling your inner villain.
Ooh.
Now, before you think we've gone to the dark side here,
Yeah.
let me explain. We're going to be exploring some of the work of Coach Dan Gordon, and he uses this very bold concept to help people like you tap into that personal power.
Welcome to The Deep Dive, an intense exploration of how you show up in life, business, and relationships, and how they're all connected in the infinite thread that is you. So let's get into the dive. Here's your hosts, Marcus and Nara.
Hey there, Deep Divers. I'm Marcus Harrison.
And I'm Nara Daniels.
You're listening to The Deep Dive.
So how do we harness those so-called villainous traits?
Yeah, so I think the first thing to think about is we often label these traits as negative.
Right.
This strong will, this refusal to back down, this unwavering confidence.
Right.
And what if we could look at those as superpowers?
Yeah. Instead,
When harnessed correctly, they can become your secret weapons for growth and success.
I mean, think about those villains in the movies. Like, they're fearless, they're decisive.
Yeah.
They are totally unafraid to go after what they want.
Right.
Now, obviously, we're not advocating for you to, go and be harmful, right? We don't want to hurt anybody.
Of course, yeah.
But what if we could take a page from their playbook?
Yeah. And adapt
those qualities.
Those qualities.
Yeah.
That's what's so interesting about this.
Yeah.
It's like flipping the script on everything we've been taught about.
Yeah.
What's right, what's wrong,
Totally.
what's good behavior, what's bad behavior. Especially when it comes to professional settings.
Yeah.
Where we're kind of told to play it safe and follow the rules all the time.
Exactly. Coach Dan, he encourages us to break free from these limiting beliefs.
Right.
And embrace the power of what he calls villainous thinking.
I love that. I'm all in. Where do we start with this?
Okay, so where do we start? One of the first things he talks about is the importance of setting boundaries. Every villain has their lair, right? Their fortress of solitude where they're in complete control. And you need to establish those boundaries in your professional life.
So this is about creating a space where you call the shots.
Yes.
Where you decide what happens.
Whether that's your physical workspace.
Okay.
Or even just your mental headspace.
That mental space, yeah.
This could mean setting clear expectations with your colleagues, learning to say no to unreasonable demands, or simply protecting your time and energy from those who drain you.
I love that. That makes total sense.
You become the gatekeeper of your own success. You decide who and what gets access to your valuable resources.
It's like you're building that electrified fence around your goals and values and not letting anyone cross it.
Exactly. Exactly. You said it perfectly. And now this might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to people pleasing.
Right.
Or putting others' needs before your own.
Which, let's be honest, a lot of us are.
Yes. A lot of us are, especially in the workplace.
Especially in the workplace.
But remember, even villains, they prioritize their own agendas. They understand their worth, and they don't waste time seeking validation from others.
Right. They just go for it.
They just go for it.
That's a good lesson for us. So how do we go from that people-pleasing to owning our worth?
It's a great starting point, but there's a nuance to it.
Okay.
It's not about being rude or dismissive.
Okay.
It's about projecting a calm confidence and expertise.
Oh, I like that.
Much like a villain who commands respect without raising their voice.
Okay. So we can have that don't mess with me aura.
Exactly.
But we don't have to actually say don't mess with me.
Exactly. You got it. It's about owning your power, knowing your value, and communicating your boundaries with clarity and conviction. Remember, even villains have a code, a set of principles. What are yours?
Oh, that's powerful.
What lines won't you cross?
Yeah. So it's like establishing your personal villain code.
Yes.
That guides you in your decisions.
That guides your decisions.
Your interactions in the professional world.
Yes. And just like a villain strategizes their moves, you need to be intentional about how you navigate your career path.
Okay.
This means setting ambitious goals, taking calculated risks, and not being afraid to shake things up a bit.
So we're talking about being bold, maybe even a little ruthless, in going after what we want,
Exactly.
but doing it in a way that aligns with our values.
Of course, yes. Think of it as channeling that villainous determination and using it to break free from the status quo. You know, it might ruffle some feathers along the way, but remember, true villains aren't afraid to challenge the system.
That's what I love about this. It's about reclaiming that power and using it to create a professional life that's fulfilling and really authentically you.
Yes, exactly.
That's great.
Yeah, and that's really where these so-called villainous traits can really come in handy.
Where do they come?
Think about the classic villains, you know, unwavering self-belief. They rarely, if ever, seek external validation.
Right.
They trust their instincts. They're not afraid to, you know, go against the grain.
Right. They've got that inner compass that guides them,
Yeah.
even when everyone's telling them that they're wrong.
Exactly. And that's a quality we could all, you know, benefit from cultivating. I mean, in the professional world, it's so easy to get caught up in seeking approval, second guessing ourselves.
Right.
But imagine the possibilities if we tapped into that unshakable self-belief, you know?
We'd be unstoppable.
Yeah.
But how do we develop that, you know, when we're surrounded by all these naysayers or when we're, you know, facing these challenges that make us doubt ourselves?
Yeah. I think it starts with recognizing and challenging those limiting beliefs that are holding you back.
Okay.
What are those negative thoughts that keep popping up in your head? You know, where did those beliefs come from? Are they really true, or are they just stories you've been telling yourself?
And a lot of times those are the things that are holding us back.
Yes, exactly. It's like, you know, villains often have these tragic backstories
Right.
that fuel their ambition, you know. But instead of letting those past experiences define us, we can choose to reframe them
Okay.
as sources of strength. You know what I mean?
I do, yeah. So we're taking those past experiences,
Yeah.
maybe turning them into, you know, fuel for growth.
Fuel for, yeah, your past doesn't have to dictate your future.
Right.
In fact, those challenges that you've overcome, those setbacks that you've navigated, they've all shaped you into the resilient and capable person you are today.
That's so true. Yeah.
So, you know, just like superheroes train rigorously to hone their skills, you need to invest in your own professional development.
Right.
What are the areas where you want to grow? What skills do you need to acquire to reach your goals? Don't be afraid to seek out mentors, take courses, you know, even experiment with different approaches. Remember, even villains are constantly evolving,
Yeah.
adapting their strategies.
So we're talking about embracing that lifelong learning mentality.
Yes.
You know, always striving to improve, expand our skill set.
Yeah.
It's like those villains who are always, you know, scheming.
Yeah.
Coming up with new plans,
Always coming up with, yeah.
you know, to achieve their objectives.
Absolutely. The professional world is constantly changing. And those who are willing to adapt, learn, they will thrive. But, you know, it's not just about acquiring knowledge. It's about putting it into action. And that's where another key villainous trait comes in.
Okay.
Audacity.
Audacity. Okay.
It's about being willing to step outside your comfort zone, to challenge conventional thinking, and to, you know, put yourself out there even when it feels scary.
Right. So we're not talking about, you know, reckless abandon here,
No.
but rather that calculated courage
Yes.
to pursue opportunities that, you know, might seem a little bit out of reach.
Absolutely. Think about those villains. They aren't afraid to make bold moves, even if it means going against the grain, ruffling some feathers, you know?
So we're talking about trusting our instincts.
Yes, trusting your instincts, taking that leap of faith and not letting fear hold you back. You know, I mean, remember, some of the greatest innovations and breakthroughs have come from those who dared to challenge the status quo.
Yeah. It's like those villains who have those, you know, grand visions that other people might think are crazy or impossible.
Yeah.
But it's that belief in their ideas, that unwavering belief that helps them to succeed.
That helps them to, yeah. And that brings us to another crucial aspect of channeling your inner villain.
Okay.
Resilience.
Okay.
Villains are rarely deterred by setbacks.
Right.
You know, they bounce back from failures, they adapt their plans, and they keep pushing forward.
It's so important, especially in our professional lives.
Yes.
Where, you know, you face rejection, you face setbacks. Those things are inevitable.
Yes, they are.
So how can we cultivate that resilience?
Yeah. You know, I think it starts with reframing failure as a learning opportunity. Instead of seeing it as a personal defeat, you know, ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience?
Yeah.
How can I use this setback to grow and improve? Remember, even villains use their failures to refine their strategies and become even more formidable.
It's like taking those villain defeats
Yes.
and turning them into, these valuable lessons
Exactly.
that make us stronger, more adaptable.
And just like villains often surround themselves with these, loyal allies, you need to build a supportive network of people who believe in you and your vision.
That's a good point. It's like having those villainous sidekicks,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
They're always there to, offer support, offer challenge, maybe even a different perspective.
Yes, exactly.
That's something that we need in our lives too.
Absolutely, These are the people that are going to encourage you, offer honest feedback, help you stay accountable to your goals. They're your sounding board, your cheerleaders, your trusted advisors.
That's like building your own personal league of extraordinary professionals.
Yes.
Who are all invested in your success.
And just like villains often have a grand plan, you need to have a clear vision for your career.
Okay.
What do you want to achieve? What impact do you want to make?
So we're not just talking about, climbing the corporate ladder here,
No.
but rather, having a purpose, having a mission.
A mission that drives you, yeah.
Yeah, that drives us.
Yeah, When you have a clear vision, it's easier to make decisions. Prioritize your efforts. Stay motivated, even when faced with obstacles.
It's like those villains who are just, laser focused on their goals.
Yeah.
And they're not going to let anything get in their way.
Yes.
They're not going to be sidetracked by, distractions or doubts.
And when you combine that clear vision with those villainous traits that we've been discussing, the boldness, the resilience, the self-belief, you create a powerful formula for professional success.
Love this conversation. Who knew that villains could teach us so much, about achieving our goals, our professional goals? I'm feeling inspired already.
Good. I love to hear that.
This is great stuff.
Yeah.
But let's talk practical. Like, how do people actually start doing this?
Yeah, that's the important part, right? So I think the first thing is, figure out those beliefs that are holding you back, those negative thoughts.
Yeah.
When you think about those career goals, what pops in your head?
Yeah.
And then write them down. Challenge them. Like, where did they come from? Are they based on facts? Or are they just, fear? And remember, villains, they don't let fear run the show.
Right. It's like we're taking inventory.
Yeah.
Of our, mental baggage.
Yeah.
And then deciding what we need to keep and what we need to just get rid of.
Get rid of. And once you've done that, you can start replacing those with empowering affirmations.
Okay.
So instead of saying, I'm not good enough,
Right.
you say, I'm capable and deserving of success,
Well, I like that.
Remember, villains often have an unshakable belief in themselves and their abilities.
Yeah. It's like we're giving ourselves permission to be bold.
Yes.
To be confident.
Yeah. And then next, I would encourage you to set some audacious goals. Don't be afraid to dream big.
Ooh, I love that. So, like, no more of those safe, comfortable goals.
Yeah, dish those.
Go after something that really excites us, that challenges us.
Think big picture. What legacy do you want to leave?
Yeah.
What impact do you want to make in your field? Don't limit yourself to what you think is possible. Like, embrace the impossible.
Like when villains, think up those elaborate schemes.
Yeah.
And complex plans to get what they want.
Yes. We can use that. We can borrow some of that.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're working towards those goals, remember to embrace the power of no.
Oh, okay.
Don't be afraid to set boundaries and protect your time and energy. Remember, villains are masters of delegation. And they prioritize. They know what's important, and they focus their efforts.
That's where that, villainous ability to command respect.
Yes.
And set clear expectations really comes in handy. Don't be afraid to decline requests that don't align with your goals or values. Your time and energy are precious. Use them wisely.
That's right. And finally, remember to celebrate those wins, no matter how small. Villains are notorious for, reveling in their victories.
Yeah.
And we should too.
Absolutely. Acknowledge your progress. Give yourself credit for all the hard work you're putting in. Each step forward, each obstacle overcome is a testament to your, dedication and resilience.
I love this deep dive. It's so inspiring and thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Who knew that channeling our inner villain could be the key to unlocking all this potential?
It's really about looking at those traits that we think are bad and seeing how they can be an asset.
Right.
Remember, it's not about being, ruthless or malicious. It's about having that boldness, that confidence, that strategic thinking, and that resilience that villains, they just embody those things.
That's right. So to all our listeners out there, we encourage you to embrace your inner villain. Set those audacious goals. Go after what you want. Don't let anything stop you. You might just surprise yourself.
Yeah, remember, the world needs more people who are bold and courageous, who are willing to kind of go against the grain, make a real difference. So go out there and unleash that inner villain for good.
I love it. That's a wrap for this deep dive. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you found it insightful. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep pushing those boundaries.
I'm Nara Daniels.
I'm Marcus Harrison.
See you next time, deep divers.
We hope you enjoyed the deep dive. Subscribe to the podcast for more deep dives as Nara and Marcus traverse the infinite exploration into the mind and soul of you. We'll see you next time on The Dive.